सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय, महायोगी स्वामी उमानंद सरस्वती की जय. Friends, as you all know, I am translating Ved. And I am coming across very interesting topics I think I should share. In Atharva Veda, that is chapter 5 and Sukta 14th, there is a very interesting topic which has come up. This interesting topic, of course, it's a frightening concept, but sometimes we must understand. We don't have to experience everything, but we can understand. So there is one topic which has come up here, is about sorcery, witchcraft, magic, black magic. Do these things really exist? Of course, the scientists will deny it logically, of course, and there must be every basic reason for it. I have nothing against it. I'm not a student of science, but I understand till into science I've studied. So we won't go into whether this is true or false, but I would like to talk about it since it's a chapter in Atharva Veda and also has come to me as a personal experience in life. So I'd like to talk about it. The idea is to talk, why should I talk about it? To show you how divinity can intervene. That is what my interest is right now. Now, the chapter starts with a prayer, and it is a prayer to a medicinal plant. Here the god is also considered to be Vanaspati. The sage is sage Shukra, who has written this. Now obviously when we call them sages and saints, they were enlightened people. So some of them have understood certain things and presented before in the text in form of knowledge so that we be aware of it. Man can be aware of it. So we will go with the first couplet. I'm going to chant the recitation part in English, not the basic Sanskrit. I'm going to read that. So the prayer is, O medicinal plant. See how open-minded these people were. Eagle has discovered you. Bird eagle has discovered you and procured you. And who has dug you out? The pigs have dug you out by their snout. O medicinal plant, hear what the prayer is now. Destroy those who practice black magic and kill those who perform sorcery, witchcraft. This is from Atharva Veda. Then you have the second mantra, they call it mantra in this. O medicinal herb, kill those who inflict pain by practice of witchcraft and also wish to do black magic to kill a common man. Maybe possible. We don't know. We don't want to challenge anybody. We just want to understand as a part of literature of Ved. And then they say, O divine learned scholars. Yes, see how knowledge steps in. O divine learned scholars, send back the black magic to the sorcerer, surrounding from all sides. you send it back to him so that he gets destroyed. Now, friends, the idea here to talk about it was because this has also come to me in my life as a personal experience. Maybe all those who walk on the path of spiritual enlightenment, since we are trying to go into the unseen world, maybe there are many other elements, the unseen elements, who might manifest in our lives. Some time back, I had helped a lady to be in my house. I had given a shelter to a friend of mine because she was having a tough time in her own family. And she was under the feeling that they are practicing some black magic on her. Of course, I didn't believe, but she was frightened. The best I could do as a friend was to let her stay with me for a few days. Now, because I offered this, the problem landed at my doorstep. The problem landed at my doorstep. And one day, a simple gentleman came to meet me. I run a small ashram in Pune, and he came to meet me, and he brought me some grapes. And he said, please offer it to the gods and distribute it amongst the people. That's a normal standard practice. So when it came, I received him, I talked to him. It was a normal discussion, nothing much. And he left. In the evening, I was placing them. One of them loosened out and fell down. A small grape fell down from the bunch. It's a normal instinct, a human instinct. I took it, wiped it, and I was about to eat it. But anything before I eat, I offer it to the God. So I just said, but I didn't want to offer it to God because it had fallen down. So I wiped it. Normally we don't offer what falls down. We just keep it aside, considering it to be less pious. So I wiped it and I was about to eat it. And suddenly I heard a voice. It was loud enough, a very loud enough voice. And the voice said, don't eat. Don't eat it. The voice was loud enough. Trust me, friends, this is intervention of the mentor who comes into your life. A spiritual mentor, an enlightened mentor. They just seem to check you at the right time. That is how God keeps in touch with mankind through the consciousness. It's the inner voice. It was loud, and the voice was not like that of mine. It was not like that of mine. It was a distinctly different voice telling me, don't eat. Of course, thank God, I have practiced to continuously listen to the consciousness, to this voice, and luckily probably avoided a lot of problems which could have come to me. So I just kept the grape aside. And next morning, as a practice, I was going to offer the rest of the bunch to the gods in prayers. Again the voice came and said, throw them away. Throw them away. Of course, a bunch of grapes costing rupees 300 or whatever it was, to throw it away was not logical. But sometimes I stick to the voice, inner voice, and I threw it. Next day I had them thrown into the waters for the fish and all. And in the evening, the same gentleman returned to me. And he said, I have come here to apologize to you. I said, for what? So he said, yesterday I had given you grapes on which I had practiced black magic. My inner voice told me, don't look at him at all. So I was avoiding looking straight at him. I was just pretending to be reading in some book. And I said, what happened? Why did you do it? He said, when I went back home, the goddess I prayed to, she told me, are you going to practice black magic on me itself? And he told me that she stared at him with red burning eyes. I don't know. Does God intervene like this? Does a mentor intervene like this? But yes, I had been saved because the man had become physically in discomfort. The bones had locked up. Was it to happen to me? I don't know. But again, before he left, he gave me cashew nuts. He said, I have not practiced anything on it. So I said, okay. I didn't show him any anger, any hatred. I just allowed him to go. Again, I went to offer the cashew nuts to the gods. She said, throw it away. The inner voice told me, throw it away. I threw it away. Now, why am I telling you this? Somewhere on a spiritual path, when you need to walk, to understand the world, which must be having in small proportion, these evil sorcery concepts might be there. We don't know. Since there is a word in our dictionary, obviously it must be manifesting in some way. Ours is a world of manifestation. That is the world, God's world is a world of only words which are knowledgeable. But when it needs to be shared, we need to experience, it has to turn itself into some manifested thing. For example, suppose I understand the word knowledge. It is in the dictionary, it is in the God's word. But do I get knowledge by just saying knowledge, 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 knowledge? No. I need to read a text at least. I need to interact with a wise person. Or somebody needs to pass it on as information to me. Or I receive it as intuition. That's called tacit knowledge. But it has to manifest. For example, air, we can't see, but we have manifested in form of words, O2, CO2, hydrogen, H2O, water. We had to manifest it in some way for us to interact or talk about it or understand it. We have to give it a name. It has to have a certain properties which have to be revealed and associated with that name. So sorcery is a word in the dictionary. So someday it will manifest somewhere. It must have manifested earlier. We have mythological stories are full of sorcery and witchcraft. Stories of Ravan, stories of Bhasmasur. Many stories, you go one after the other. We have a lot of sorcerers in our mythological stories. So that word needs to come to our doorstep in case we are on the path, and we need to understand what I'm trying to tell you how, but there is an intervention or intervening of the divinity there. I'll tell you a small story of Joan of Arc. a saint I loved. She was a little girl. As she grew up, God chose her. He said, you fight with the king in a war, you will bring him victory. Joan of Arc fought the battle and somehow France won. After that, Joan of Arc name became very popular. People started looking up to her. King also appreciated her. But somehow the immediate right hand, the left hand of the kings, the people in the court, they were jealous. And they finally convinced the king that she performs witchcraft. She is a sorceress. And of course, the punishment then in the court was to burn them alive. It's a very difficult punishment, a cruel punishment. And Joan of Arc, she got scared. Anyone would. And she talked to God. She said, this is not fair. You asked me to fight the battle and I fought. Now you're going to destroy me. So he said, you are needed then. Now I need the king to be known. So your role is done and I'm going to take you away. She said, but I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to feel the burn. He said, don't worry. Before the one spark of the flame also touches you, I'll take your soul away. Just hold me before your eyes. She requested one of her friends to hold a cross before the eyes. And when actually the girl was put on fire, very sad to hear some of these atrocities mortals made earlier. Yes, an innocent shouldn't be punished. And he held a cross before her eyes all the time. He stood right in front of her and held the cross, and she was trying to focus her mind on the cross, keeping the fears away of the fire. But luckily, probably she succeeded or the God was kind. He just picked up her soul before even the first spark of the flame got to her. Friends, I'm telling you this because it is a chapter in Atharva Veda. It is an experience of my personal life, and it is also a hope of mortal mankind that God dwells and comes to rescue us. Yes, try and stick to listening to your inner voice. There are people around who are going to tell you a lot of things, but also try and hear your inner voice because it's the voice of God. I practice it daily. I try to do as best as I can. I don't try to break the rules, except sometimes in the early morning when I'm supposed to get up and study. I tend as if I'm not going to listen to the inner voice. The voice tells me, get up. And the self in me tells me, another half an hour, God, I'll take my leave. Sleep. This is Swami Radhikanand from Pune. Hear your inner voice and make a spiritual friend in your life. Have faith in any God, any God. It's not how great the God is. It is how humble you are to the universal energy. Have a nice day and thank you.